The Youth Commission kids here from town of Chazy are in their glory. They're lining up next to an actual Plattsburgh State soccer player here, and they are so excited about this. And who can blame them? Calvin Castine, Joey Trombley will be joining me in a moment. This is the annual red and white game, but if you've been paying close attention, you can tell it's the red and gray teams going at it here at George Brendler Field in beautiful downtown Chazy. It's probably the 20th day of August 2009, and this is an annual game that Chris Waterbury puts on with his team every year. The red and white game it's called, and this year they're playing it here at George Brendler Field. So we'll listen to Joey Trombley, who's down below, as he introduces the lineups. Referees are Barry Norton, Steve Regan, and Jim Varon, as the red and white players and their shadows make their way onto the field. Some are even holding hands with their heroes here.
For the annual Plattsburgh State University red and white game between the collegiate men of Plattsburgh State. Let's meet the players, and first we'll start with the gray team or the white team. Number 18, Joe Palat. Number 8, Matt Nabota. Number 28, Elise McCarron. Number 6, Greg Wiley. Number 7, Mark Mishiak. Number 2, Bart Mishiak. Number 13, John Martin. Number 25, Matt Martin. Number 23, Chris Taylor. Number 37, Eric Hakeem. Number 12, Jacob Spiegel. Number 11, Cortez Dillon. Number 17, Joe Bogart. Number 29, Joe Jones. Number 10, Jason Baker. Number 31, Hasbendez Azra. Hope I got it right there. First goalie, Andrew Hyington. The second goalie, Pat Lynch. And the third goalie, Daniel Romer. Let's meet the red team. Number 20, Gomez Blaine. Number 16, Dan Burns. Number 19, Nick Cholua. Number 1, Bo Kwistakakis. Number 24, James Gaffney. Number 33, Joe Griffin. Number 5, Matt Hamilton. Number 26, Dave Hickman. Number 22, Brandon Levine. Number 36, John Logarato. Number 21, Michael Mercatio. Number 30, Michael Payne. Number 3, Mike Pinamonti. Number 9, Pat Shaughnessy. Number 14, Kyle Fink. Number 35, TJ Winters. Number 27, Steven Zaharata. Goalie, Mike Lynn. Goalie, Ellen Mack. And goalie, Zach Kurzenga. Please stand and remove your hats as we honor our national anthem.
Hello, soccer fans. Welcome to George Brendler Field here in Chazy. It's hard to believe that it's another soccer season here about to start here. It's the 20th of August, 2009, and we got a rare treat here in Chazy, if you will. We have the Plattsburgh State men's soccer team here. They're having their annual red and white game here on the field of Chazy. I talked to Brian Norcross before the game, and a couple years ago, the St. Lawrence girls came down here to play the Plattsburgh State girls. It was a league game, and Brian tried to get a men's game here for Plattsburgh State. They couldn't work it out on the schedule, and Coach Waterbury agreed to have the red and white game, and it's good here for the local folks. Calvin's on the camera. I'm Joey Trombley, and I haven't done any announcing for 9 months, Calvin, so I may have a little rust here, but I got to get back game shape like these guys are trying to do right now.
Well, it's more like 5 or 6 months because you were there for the basketball playoffs.
Oh, that's true. I did do a couple of those games, so it's only 3 months away. But soccer and basketball are two different animals here. But it's the Plattsburgh State team, and as the years have gone by and the level of talent has picked up here locally, because the teams play year-round, basically, from spring soccer to fall soccer to indoor soccer, Plattsburgh State is going more and more locally to get some local talent.
It's nice to see Chris Waterbury doing that. Probably the first person from our area of the North Country that we can think of that played for Plattsburgh State would be Chris Gondek, who had a very good career there. And it's nice that there are 5, but one's injured, but there are 5 kids from Section 7 in the team.
Yeah, 5 from Section 7 is really quite a testament to the soccer programs here locally in the area. Of course, the 5 players, sophomore Nolan Ryan, and we'll start with Nolan Ryan, who his first year last year surprisingly didn't get any goals. He had a lot of chances, but it was some great saves, some goal posts, just some bad luck, but he was the #1 assist getter. But this year, just a few weeks ago, Nolan was on vacation and just chasing some cousins through a hayfield, if you will, and there was a stone that nobody saw, and Nolan broke his toe, and Nolan is out for the season.
Was he barefoot in that hayfield?
That's the second person to ask me that question tonight. I don't know. I'm thinking not, but I don't know for sure. And Nolan thought it was a bruise. He actually was playing summer soccer, and he played the semifinal game here actually in Chazy against their arch rivals from high school, Elizabethtown, and they won that game 1-0. Nolan actually scored a goal with that bad foot, but he thought it was a deep bruise at that time. They went on to the finals to play Giroux, and he was really hurting toward the end of the game, had it looked at, and it was definitely a break. So in college, it's not like at the D1 they call redshirt you. They sit you down a year. In D3 they don't call it redshirting, but they can take a year off and still play for their 4-year collegiate career if they carry on with their collegiate academics.
Well, you couldn't be redshirted at Plattsburgh State anyway because you'd be wearing the school colors.
Yeah, well, that's true, and that's probably why they don't do it here at Plattsburgh State, and I'm sure that's why they changed it in Division III.
They blue shirted them or something.
Yeah, blue shirted him. So Nolan is out for the season, and I know he's disappointed. I think the local fans are disappointed. Want to see what Nolan could do his sophomore year, but we still have 4 other players here at the local level who are playing right now for Plattsburgh State, and I'll give you their numbers as Calvin's taping this game so you can see who they are. But number 10, local guy, just graduated for Shazy, had a stellar career at the midfield, was Jason Baker.
Which team is he on, number 10?
And Jason is, very good question, he is on the gray team. I'm not sure if Jason's out there right now. I've been bantering back with you, not really watching the game here so much. And there's a shot on net, just wide. I don't see Jason out there yet. But Jason is a freshman. He had a storied career at Shazy, controlled the midfield beautifully. He was also on the recipient of a couple state championships and a big factor of those teams.
He sure was, and it's good to see him out there. And there's another Shazy boy out there besides, right?
There is. We want to talk also on the gray team. It will be number 12, Jacob Spiegel. And Jacob will be a junior this year for his collegiate career. The first year, I think he went away to Mohawk, and he played last year for Plattsburgh State, so this is his 3rd year. Again, Jacob was a very strong midfielder for the Eagles when he was here at Shazy, so I know it's a treat for him to be back on the George Brendler Field in his collegiate uniform here for Plattsburgh State. So there's a flavor of 3 Shazy kids with Nolan Ryan, Jason Baker, and Jacob Spiegel. And then on the red team from Osable Valley, number 5, he's a freshman this year. He had a great career for Osable Valley, is Matt Hamilton.
Hamilton was just an outstanding player, and he was like the other guy you're going to mention, he was the top player in the CBAC his senior year.
Well, Matt Hamilton played summer soccer actually for Kavanaugh Realty this year, Calvin, in the summer league.
Wasn't that wonderful?
And well, he got recruited by Jacob Spiegel, and but he played very well this summer in the men's league, and obviously helped prepare him here for his freshman year at Plattsburgh State. Now, the next person we're going to talk about, who had a stellar career in high school, as you said, was Player of the Year, but his freshman year for Plattsburgh State really came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody expected the offensive output from this guy, and he basically did a lot of those goals with his head, and that was Pat Shaughnessy.
Yeah, Shaughnessy, an outstanding player for the Hornets, and he had a lot of help there for the Hornets, but he was the man you watched when you played against Plattsburgh High School.
Well, there was no doubt about it. Matter of fact, I had called the game for Wiry down at 4 when they made it to the state championship. It was Shaughnessy in overtime drilling a shot, the game winner, against a team that they were trailing for most of the game, and it was just a beautiful finish. And they went on to the state championship game, lost that game 1-0, which they could have won that year, but somebody had to lose, and they were on the short end. But Shaughnessy had a great high school career.
And we should point out that the fellow that's usually on the side of you chatting away with you and arguing politics has gone to a phys ed class tonight because they've recruited Joe Poisson to be the JV coach here at Shazy. But Joe has assured me that he will be in the booth as often as he can.
When I first heard that Joe got the JV position, I said, "What? He's the perfect guy for the position. He knows the game. He knows how to discipline, and some kids do need it. Kids are kids and need to have discipline, and Joe's good at that. And so I called him too, and I said, "You're still coming up in the booth here, I hope, to do games." And he goes, "Well, yeah." He goes, "The JV games are different than the varsity games," and he goes, "There really shouldn't be a conflict." So I did ask Joe the $64,000 question. I said, "Joe, if the boys or girls make it to the Final Four," or let's say the boys, and they're in the finals, and I got to call the game for Wiry, I go, "Are you in the booth, or are you on the sidelines with Coach Rob McAuliffe?" And his answer, you don't know, so I'm going to let you guess.
Oh, he told me that he told Coach McAuliffe he would not be on the sidelines with him. He's going to be up in the booth.
Joe's exact words were to me. He says, "Joey, I'll be in the booth because I always have something to say."
And Rob may or may not listen to him.
So Joe has assured us that he will be here, and we'll have the Joe and the Joe show going again this year. I think the political arena will be a little died down. It's not a presidential race this year, so I don't think we'll be talking much politics this year.
Probably not. Probably not. He's a bleeding heart liberal. We know that, so we'll miss him. But
Now, there's anything wrong with that.
no. As I was telling somebody recently, is that if you're not a liberal when you're 19, you don't have a heart. And if you're not a conservative when you're 40, you don't have a head. So
Oh, jeez. No, those,
it was explained to me.
those are the views of Calvin Castine of Hometown Cable, not necessarily of the announcer. You know, the show is shown to both sides of the aisle, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay, all right.
as is the McLaughlin group.
Now, and here's what I say. I go, nobody's right or wrong. We just have our opinions, right? We just have our opinions. Who's right? Who's wrong? We just have our opinions. And if you're wondering why I'm not calling a lot of names right now, because I really don't know these guys, and the numbers aren't in numerical order, so it's a lot tougher to call. So I'm gonna let Calvin move these cameras around, to move the camera around.
And the guys with the gray shirts on, some of those numbers are sweated off. You can't make them out.
And I wonder why. It's only like 76 degrees, but it's like 95% humidity up here.
Yes,
And you and I are sweating just calling the game here.
just standing here.
And those poor guys, they're going to be soaked before this is over with. But I think it's a treat, though, for the community as a whole to have Plattsburgh State here.
Well, definitely. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of notification on it, so I think a lot of people weren't able to make plans on this Thursday night to be here.
I didn't see it in the paper today.
Not right. It wasn't in the paper today because it's just a in-school scrimmage, so you wouldn't necessarily put it in a sports section of the upcoming sports events.
But I wasn't expecting a big write-up. I thought, the times for the little sports things going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't necessarily be in there because it's just a scrimmage. One team, gray against white here, so it's not like Plattsburgh State is actually playing against somebody.
Right. But I think this is a good game, too. Obviously, Coach Waterbury kind of has an idea who his starters are, but he wants to see, for the new kids coming on the block, what they can do at the collegiate level.
Yeah, and he told you he just kind of tried to get even teams here.
Right. Because I asked him, I said, is there any rhyme or reason how you split this? He said no. It was just try to make it as even as possible, and just want to get a look at the kids and see how they do.
Being
Kids
old,
to
we
me.
can say kids, but
Yeah, well, kids to me.
These are men
And
out
you.
there. These are men.
These are young men, yes. They are young men, there's no doubt. Nice hard shot and a nice save, and that would have been number 23 for the Gray. So I got to find their number here, Calvin, and if I can now, well, that's an easy one. It was Chris Taylor, so that was Chris Taylor with the shot, and it was Mike Lind with the save for the red team. And they told me there's 6 goalies here, actually, and they're in the order that they'll play the game. So we have to keep our eyes open to see if a goalie comes off, so we give them the proper.
Yeah, obviously they're going to be switching goalies somewhere during a period because if you're going to play all 3 of them, you've got 45-minute halves, and you don't have 3 periods to play them.
No, exactly.
This isn't hockey.
No, and DeLon with the ball right now here for Plattsburgh State. Some nice movement, knocked away, and it's picked up by number 37, Hakeem. Hakeem sends it into the box, and here comes Lynn. He gets it, and he beats down the on-Russian McCarron, honest McCarron. So it feels kind of good getting back here, Calvin. I was telling Maggie on the way over, I said, I love soccer season. I love September and October. It's just what comes after it.
I know. That's the.
But I do love soccer season. It's just.
I don't like the end of soccer season.
No, I like to be like this. In 7 more weeks, Calvin, we will not be standing here like we are right now. Well, we will be standing here, but not the same attire. Let's put it that way.
Very unlikely.
I should say, God willing, we'll be standing here, but
Yeah.
not with this attire.
Somebody will be standing there.
Somebody will be standing here. Now, for a game that wasn't announced, there's not a bad crowd here.
Well, there's always this many people on the Shazy Field playing soccer every day of the week. So,
I mean, fan-wise, I mean, it's not that bad.
well, they got the youth commission involved, so
Yeah, of course, kids bring parents, right?
that's right.
So that gets them out here. But, as we walked in, you had the JV girls practicing. You had the high school girls practicing. You saw some of the younger teams practicing. And I know the boys practiced this morning. And an alumni of Shazy Soccer, Galen Trombley, is now the assistant to Rob McAuliffe this year. Rob called him to assist. So actually Galen's gone with Joe to that class tonight.
His first aid.
His first aid. So he'll be walking the sidelines. And the ball is controlled by the red team. And the red team, number 3, Penamonte, with the ball. They're respecting him, and it's now cleared into the box, and it's easily picked up by Andrew Hyington for the gray team. Sends it out to the far side, and it's picked up by the gray team. And I'll say gray team, but I don't know who that is over there. I can't pick up his number.
Well, getting back to Galen, I saw far too much of him this summer, I have to tell you. Far too much of him.
Now, for you to say that, I'm thinking you spent way too much time at Creamy's is what I'm guessing.
Too many visits to Creamy's, yes.
But, how can you not? And now this, we have no donation from Creamy's here, but...
Pete Harrigan, if you're listening, we'll accept one, but I haven't got it yet.
But here's the thing. It is the best ice cream in the North Country.
Views expressed are those of everybody in the North Country.
Yeah. And if this game gets done early enough and it's before 9 o'clock, I may be going there tonight.
Even without Galen there to give you that extra scoop.
No, he won't be, and even Sagan won't be there because she's got practice tonight.
There too.
Yeah, they're both working there. So.
I guess the Latrimore boy, Jeremy's been promoted to the West Plattsburgh store.
He has been. Jeremy's up at West Plattsburgh. And those kids have been there a long time. This is Galen's 6th year.
Wow.
Jeremy's been there 8 years. But it's a good high school, college type job for him. You're dealing with people who are coming to eat ice cream. How bad can that be?
You're probably not too rowdy usually, huh?
Nah, they're usually in a pretty good mood. Or you have ice cream, you're in a pretty good mood to have ice cream.
You know you're going to get ice cream.
Yeah.
You got a grin on your face.
I've never seen a bad side of going to get an ice cream cone or a sundae, whatever you like, but the only thing where it might hurt you a little bit is at the end of the summer where the pants are a little tighter. That's a downside.
Well, that's why you like those humid days, so it evens out.
Well, what's hard is, you get creamy stuff, you go, thank God, but then you're stuck on Mickey fries. And it's just a cycle. And it's the price we pay to be up here, because we are the connoisseur of good foods.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Mickey Kahn isn't here with his Mickey fries. I ran into him the day before Shazy's old home day, and he was buying out Sam's Club. And with the rain you guys had on old home day, he's probably got a lot of French fries left.
Oh, what a day that was! Normally speaking, I think it's the 3rd time they've had rain on old homes days. It has always been a nice day, but when the rain came, the skies just opened. It cleared the place out, which is really unfortunate. You plan all year for something like that, and the money goes back to the community, in local ways. And
the Lions Club relies on that money to sponsor so much of what they do.
Exactly. But as far as soccer goes, we have played 16 minutes here in the first half. There has been no score, and there really has not been any great opportunities for either side. It's more like a control the field type game. Who can control between the 50-yard lines? But no, well, there could be an opportunity here with Shaughnessy. Oh, nice shot. I think that was Shaughnessy, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it was Shaughnessy. And the goalie was screened on that, and he hit the side of the net on the outside, but nice for Shaughnessy to get that shot off.
He's a aggressive player who makes his own shots. He
knows how to finish.
Yep.
There are certain players, when they get around a net, or they know where they are, they know how to position themselves, and they know how to finish. Some players you see by the net get the ball, you have nothing to worry about here. But certain players you go, watch out, and Shaughnessy is one of those players. This is John Martin for the Gray. Oh, and skips out, and it's cleared out of the area by Michael Logaretto, or actually Mergatio. Oh, nice move. This could be a goal here. Now, I'm not sure why he didn't take a shot there, because it seemed like he was wide open. Didn't it seem like that, Calvin? I mean, you're that close. Why don't you just wind up and let it go?
I put it, right in front of that net.
I mean, he pushed it back to the 18.
Yeah, I don't know.
Boy, I mean, and I'm sure, I mean, he's a good-sized guy. He's probably got a lot of power in that shot.
Maybe he thought the defense would be looking for that, and he was going to deke him out.
Yeah, maybe. But, I don't know. I look at it. If you hit the red, it may deflect out, get a corner kick or something. But we're up here, and they're down there, and he might be a little tired right now. So.
Yeah, and chances are we won't be on the team anyway. So.
No. And, hopefully Coach will buy 22 copies of this so these kids can send it out to their families. And they can be so proud of their kids in the red and white game.
That's right. Well, they'll also be able to see it on the internet, too. Very shortly.
Plattsburgh.com.
That's right.
Now, you got a lot of stuff up there. I mean, you're almost posting as you're doing it now, aren't you?
We're trying to get it on there within a day or so.
I know when you did the 400th birthday of Samuel D. Champlain in St. Mary's, that I got an email from Amy Patre saying that it was posted. I was like, wow, that was quick. So that was nice that you did that. I mean, that's definitely an archive that will be around.
Well, anytime you've got Joey Tremblay singing at a French Mass, you got to have it on soon.
Well, we, monsieur, it's, they were saying it in French, and I was responding in my version of French. But that was a really nice Mass. And it was kind of cool. I mean, I didn't understand what they were saying, but it was kind of cool.
Well, yeah, the Mass was cool. The long homily in French, and the short one in English, I think should have been reversed. But it did go long there. But I thought everything was nice. I thought, unfortunately, it rained outside for the ceremony. But again, like I was telling people up when we were singing, I said, I guarantee I won't be here celebrating his 500th birthday. No, I was there for the 350th when it's not his birthday though. It's when he came down.
Right,
Lake
his birthday.
Champlain came down Lake Champlain. Said, hey, this lake is named after me. What a coincidence! Here I am, Samuel D. Champlain, and I'm on Lake Champlain. That was 400 years ago. But I was there in Champlain for the 350th when the Andrews sisters were there.
Mm-hmm. The Andrews sisters showed up?
Yep. I don't remember if they did Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy or not, but they were there.
Now, they said what? Was it 6,000 people?
Well, that.
But that wasn't the 50th, right?
I don't think it was for the 350. I think they used that figure for the 1907 when they dedicated the statue. The Franco-American Society and the Jean-Baptiste Society, I think, was involved with it too. They dedicated that monument that's on the grounds at St. Mary's in 1907 on July 4th. And that was the first one in the United States. That was before the one in Plattsburgh. That was before the one in Lamont. That was before the one in Crown Point. So it was the first Champlain monument in the United States. So on that one there was, they guessed 6,000, but I don't know who counted them.
Yeah, wow. I mean, you have that one, you have one in Plattsburgh, and you have one in Ticonderoga. Are they the three?
Crown Point.
Or Crown Point. So are there any more than those three?
There's one at Lamont that was done at the World's Fair in '67.
Okay.
There's a lot of them in Quebec and around, but I'm not aware of too many others in the United States.
And there's a foul. And it looked like it was on number 28 for the gray team. And that would have been on East McCarran. Actually, it was the red team. So we have number 23, Chris Taylor, taking the kick. And you have Levine and Payne trying to set up a wall here. Going far side, it goes a little too far, but it was a nice through ball. Nobody could get there, and it will be a goal kick here for the red team.
Looks like Coach Kelleher is putting in a couple of Shazy fellas.
Here they come, Spiegel and Baker.
Yeah, and I believe you only get one time in there. You can't come back in the half. I think in the college level you substitute and that's it. If you come out, you're out for the half.
Okay, well it's at the 23 3-minute mark, so basically about halfway through. So we have 2 local Shazy boys out there. Of course, we had Shaughnessy out there, and I haven't seen Hamilton yet, have we, for the Red?
We may have, and not normally.
Well, we've been bantering back and forth here. No, we haven't. Hamilton's warming up here to my left, so another local boy will be coming in.
It doesn't take much to warm up today.
No, not at all. So we got Spiegel and Baker for Shazy into the game here. They got Jason Baker. It looks like he's in the sweeper position, and it looks like Spiegel's in the stopper position, at least on this kick here. Nice cross, nice save by the goalie. I don't know if they've switched goalies here, so it's one of the 3. But it would be Mike Lynn if they haven't switched already. And that would be a nice punt, Calvin. He said out. Oh, let's talk about our referees who've been going on. We should give them their due. And Calvin, I'll let you have the honors.
All right, I got referee is Stevie Reagan, Barry Norton on the corner up there, and right in front of us here is Jim Varon. Those are the line judges.
3 seasoned officials here at the collegiate level. We've seen them at the state level calling games. So these guys know what they're doing down there. And it's got to be never talked to them about that, but it's got to be kind of difficult going from like a high school game to a college game, because the rules are the same, but there's a lot more you get away with at the college level.
Yeah, I would think you let them be a little more physical, as long as they're not being nasty out there.
Yeah. And Steve Reagan called something. No, that wouldn't be a penalty kick? It's got to be outside the box, I would think. But it's not.
Well, it's not a...
So we'll have to get the ruling on that one. What, maybe shielding or something?
I'm not sure. It wasn't, whatever it was, wasn't a penalty type of violation.
Oh, they gave that opportunity.
Yeah. A little slow off the starting gate.
Yeah, really slow. And they're countering here. The Grays countering on that miscue on the wonderful opportunity for Red.
Right there was where you would love to have seen Chris Gondek coming down carrying that ball. He had such speed when he just got out in that open field.
Plus, it was like Velcro on his foot, wasn't it?
Yeah. He just...
But you're going back some years now when you mentioned Chris Gondek.
Yes.
He was in the 90s?
Yes. PJ might have graduated around 87 or 88.
And PJ's older than Chris?
Right.
Okay.
I think PJ and Chris Kuhlman, those guys were sophomores when Rob McAuliffe was an 8th grader. So.
Well, we're approaching the 19-minute mark here. Shots on net favor the white team 3-2. Corner kicks favor the white 2-1. So a pretty evenly matched game. So Coach Waterbury wasn't kidding when he said we try to make these teams even.
Yeah, you don't know if he's happy with the lack of shots because his defense is working, or if he's,
Yeah. So they have, let me see, they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. That's 33 kids. Now, well, okay, men, you're right. 33 men, and I can't imagine all 33 make the team. I mean, you don't carry 33 kids on a team, men on a team.
I wouldn't think you'd carry that many players, but I really don't know what their roster would be. I can't imagine much more than twice.
I think 20, 22, maybe?
I would, even that's hard to, but especially with the substitution rules, it's hard to.
Right. Oh, there's a nice feed.
But if you carry at least 22, then you can have good good practices. You definitely want to be able to go 11 on 11 when you practice.
Right. And a good effort by Gray, but it will be a goal kick here for Red. And now we have another local flavor coming in. Matt Hamilton, Player of the Year for Sable Valley, coming off as Player of the Year for Plattsburgh High School, Pat Shaughnessy.
Yeah. Hamilton is number 5.
Number 5 Red.
One final thing on that old home day that I was disappointed on was the fact that I was at home watching the interactive radar on the computer and looking out the window, figuring out when that storm might clear, and I said, well, it looks like it, around 1 o'clock or so it would clear up. So I got there shortly before 1 after the rain had gone through, but the king and queen had already been crowned, and
yeah, they tried
gone.
to get it in before the rain came is what they were trying to do, I think.
Well, Russell and Mary John Lee, and of course the king and queen aren't supposed to know who the king and queen are, so you can't ask these people to stick around in the rain.
No. No, it's just, it was definitely a different setup this year. I mean, all obviously weather driven, but nice that that Russ and
I just wish I was able to get it on the tape.
yeah, it was very nice to see them get it. And
I wouldn't know. I didn't see them get it.
well, it was nice for you to hear that they got it. I heard it too. I was actually serving the community sausages and hot dogs and hamburgers in the Lions Club booth.
But Bob Cheeseman did send me a photo of it, so I appreciate that, by the town historian.
So it is captured in print, anyway. In print. Calvin, if the weather can be like this in October, it might be a little cooler, maybe less humidity, but I'd be a happy camper.
Definitely. Well, we've had some fairly decent weather for a couple of years here until it got late in the season. We've had.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, actually, for soccer weather. Yeah. And the field is in great shape. They did a nice job. I mean, the last year in front of the goalie, there was nothing but mud on both ends, and somehow they brought grass back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable why there is, but
yeah, right.
But and Brian said before, he said there's not going to be as many games this year because now like Section 10 gets a lot of the regional games. It's their year, so those games won't be played here. But it will be interesting next Saturday. I mean, I know because Sagan's playing varsity. There's what's it called?
Voorheesville.
So that's kind of cool. They never played that team before. They'll be here next Saturday. Are you able to make that game?
It's on my calendar.
All right.
I believe they're a Class C school. Trying to recall, they played at Plattsburgh State this spring in basketball. I'm trying to remember who they played.
Kids, just put it out, Michael.
They want to get another player back in the game. They want them to get rid of it. Spiegel's got the ball, tried to one-time it, but it went over to Red. And now controlled by Gray. Taylor with the ball, goes far side over to Baker. Jason Baker, back over to Taylor.
Referees are alternating too here. Norton's now in the middle, and Regan's holding the flag.
And that's good too.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to move around. I'm sure they want to get back in the game condition too.
Yeah, and it's got to be hard work on a night like this. But the thing with the three-man is that every once in a while that referee that's in the middle of the field ends up setting a pick for somebody, and
There's a nice cross.
block off an offensive or defensive man.
I think it's kind of cool for the Plattsburgh State guys to play on a nice pitch that Shazy has to offer. Like it's natural. They're used to playing on artificial, so it's got to be kind of neat to play on this surface. And we have a goal kick. It's a goal kick. And we're ready for the goal kick here. And the kick goes to about midfield. We have about 12 minutes and 17 seconds left. Still no score here between the annual red and white game. Of course, Calvin and I, we talked about that before the game. It's called red and white, but they got gray out there, Calvin.
It's definitely red and gray. They're not going to fool us.
As Calvin said, this is colored TV here, so we can't fool the folks back home.
I'm not going to lie to you. You know, it's red and gray, and that's it. Of course, I read in the Plattsburgh Press that it was red and white, so I've also read for the past 2 days that Northern Adirondack is asking the kids to show up in Champlain.
Oh, really?
They're interested in playing football.
Well, you know, I look at the paper every day. I did not see where this game was talked about. Was it an article or was it just a little...
Just one of those sports shorts.
Sport shorts? Okay.
It was in there. But I saw it in there today. I said, well, they must have corrected that. But there it was again, Champlain. It's Ellenburg, folks. Northeastern's in Champlain. Northern Adirondacks in Ellenburg.
Well, maybe doing this shared... I don't know, what do you call it? The shared
services?
Shared services. Use our field, we'll use yours.
Yeah, well, I would think that if NAC ended up, you know, when NAC first happened, they did have a football team for a year or two, but they didn't last very long. So that would have been back in 1970-71 season.
And there's a shot over the net. And I would say that Steven Sarachek would like to have that opportunity over again.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, that was real easy for me to say. But you know, it's good to see these common North Country names here calling this game here.
Well, names like that are common in Lion Mountain and Port Henry and places.
Yeah.
Those East German names, or East European names. If it's
European names, yeah. And before, Coach Waterbury was telling us the story about Mark Mishiak.
Yes.
Now, the Mark Mishiak we have playing today is not the Mark Mishiak that played last year. But this Mark Mishiak played 2 years ago. So there were two Mark Mishiaks on the team.
At the same time.
Same time. Now, they were spelt the same middle initial. They came from the same town, from Poland, same town, and they did not know each other.
Yeah, but a town of 1 million people.
Well, that was, I would say, yeah, but there was 1 million people.
Yeah.
But what are the odds that two Mark Mishiaks from Poland from the same town be playing at Plattsburgh State?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of weird.
Well, weird, but yeah.
Is it normal? Different?
Different. Yes.
Different? Okay, we'll use different. Many words in the English language we can tap into.
Yeah, that might be as common as Bob Smith is over here. Who knows? Not that they've ever had two Bob Smiths playing at the same time on Plattsburgh State.
But I thought it was the same Mark Mishiak that played Summer League, who is now the coach for Clinton Community College, and it's not.
Which means that Coach Arnold has hung it up. Eric Arnold.
Yeah.
He's been there a long time.
Well, we got Jason Baker, the left fullback, with the ball here for the Cardinals. The gray Cardinals. And intercepted by the red Cardinals.
Yeah. Of course,
And Hamilton with the ball.
it's only the male Cardinals that are red, though.
That's right.
The females are more of a brown.
Yeah. One thing they do very well at the collegiate game is their possession. Nice job spreading the field, using everybody. See, it's not uncommon to see a lot of midfield play at the college level. Oh, a couple of new goaltenders coming in. So I'm thinking it's Pat Lynch and Kellen Mack. Well, we have two new goalies that just came into the game here. For the Red, it's Kellen Mack. And then for the Gray team, it is Pat Lynch. So they're getting some time here. There is 6 minutes and 44 seconds here left in the first half. Shots on net are still 3-2 favoring the Gray team, or the White team. And Christotakis had the ball, but now it's cleared out. Spiegel sending it up. Nice feed up. Nice defensive play by number 21 Mergatio. We're back to the action. Gray team controlling over to Baker, far side. Baker working his way to midfield right now. First year at the collegiate level here at Plattsburgh State. Local guy at Plattsburgh State out there along with Jacob Spiegel. And on the red team is number 5 Matt Hamilton on the local section here playing for Plattsburgh State. If you're just joining us, Nolan Ryan is out for the season. Broke his foot on vacation this summer, but he can still get 4 years in, which is kind of neat. So, and Coach Waterbury told him, you're going to come back next year, you'll be that much older, that much bigger, that much stronger. And so, you try to make lemon out of lemon, or lemonade out of lemons when they're given to you.
What I've heard, though, is that his broken toe is a severe type injury that he could, if he's not careful, could end up being a career ending, not just something he's out for a year with.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be smart with his recovery and basically listen to your doctors. If they say stay off it, it means stay off it. And, well, since we're talking about Nolan Ryan, remember his brother Kevin Ryan, number 25 for the Eagles, is now a dad.
Oh.
So we'll say that on the air here. Kathy and Timmy will like that, so they can save that in their archives. It is Landon Monroe Ryan is the newest addition to the Ryan household. Now, will he play soccer? I don't know, but there is a history there.
He better.
And number 13 for the Gray, John Martin, actually played summer ball this year. He played for Giroux.
I kept waiting there in that men's league final there, Drew's Poultry against Kavanaugh Realty. Kept waiting for you to cross the field.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. You know, when like Jerry Jones walking the sidelines there, I just, I couldn't go call that game. I saw you there and I said, nah, it's too early. Our contract did say August 15th and later I should be announcing, so. Actually, I didn't notice you to the second half, actually. That was a good game, actually.
Yeah.
It was a very well played game.
I was very happy that it didn't go overtime.
Darkness was going to prevail in that one if it would have, I think. And the goal was Sean Martin was screened on that, and it was a nice shot by Mishiak to score the game winner. But you go back to the men's league. I mean, the level of the men's league now compared to 20 years ago is night and day. The talent, the level of play. I mean, there's no comparison.
Well, because the kids coming out of school
play year round.
Yeah, they play year round, and they play a different brand of soccer.
Yeah, totally different brand. I got a feeling, Calvin, I don't think they'll go to overtime, but if it's tie. But I think it's going to be a 1-0 game if anybody wins this thing.
Not if it's tied.
No, I'm saying if it's not a tie, it's going to be a 1-0 game.
Either 0-0, 1-1, or 1-0.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to go into any kind of overtime.
I wouldn't think so.
For this, I wouldn't think so. We're a minute 35 here left in the first half. One thing has changed on the score clock here, the shot clock, is, other than the time, is that there's now 4 shots for Gray and 2 for Red. So,
Which isn't a heck of a lot of shots.
well, it's 2-1.
It's 4-2, but there's still not a lot of shots.
I know. So Red's totally, or Gray's totally outplayed him.
Yeah, right.
Score clock is what I'm thinking of. And I think at halftime, I think the kids are coming out to play a little bit too.
Yeah, kind of like they do on I don't know if they're going to do it this year. They used to have the Bolton doubleheader.
Well, you know what's going to be kind of neat this year? Calvin, the first time, I think, in 14 years, my Saturdays are free.
Oh.
Because my youngest plays modified this year.
Oh, so you're not.
So I'm not doing the town stuff anymore. So it's like,
You just quit. Just
well,
like that.
It's a different change, you know.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm carrying my responsibilities. Guys like yourself, bringing the games to the folks of the North Country. 16 seconds here left in the first half. I can venture to say it's going to end 0-0. We're getting the countdown now here for under 10 seconds. And the first half will come to an end here at the George Brendler Field with the red and gray tied at 0. Well, we're ready to start the second half here at the George Brendler Field in this Plattsburgh State red and white game. The first half tied with 0s. A lot of midfield play. Shots on net favored the white team 4-2. And the lights now come in handy tonight, Calvin. Yes, I'll get on to our guest speaker here who just showed up here for the second half here shortly. But the lights come in handy. We didn't need them when the game started, but we sure need them now.
Sure do. Anyways, speaking of lights, we got a bright one in our booth now.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, the famous Alan Combs has come up here to Sean Hannity and Joe Poisson. But we, when he came up, we called him Joe, we called him Ted Baxter, we called him everything. And he said, guys, now you call me Coach.
He's like Madden. He's like Madden. He's got to be called Coach.
He goes, I'm the coach. I want respect. I demand respect. So we have Coach Poisson. So how is your coaching career? How's it starting out for you?
Well, it's just a different aspect of it. I got an extremely talented group of young men, and I'm glad to have them. They need to learn a few things like everybody else does. It's a learning phase for everybody, so it's going to be an interesting season. But I think they're going to be successful, definitely at the varsity level. Like I said, there's a lot of good talent on that team. A lot of good young men are trying really hard to play some good soccer.
Well, but you know, for these young men going to the JV level, it's not modified, it's not town ball now it's going up to another level where you're basically preparing them for the man down below here, Coach McAuliffe, to get them ready for varsity.
That's exactly what any junior varsity coach does, any junior varsity program does, is try to do that, try to refine them a little bit more than what they are. If it really helps when they work at home, and I'll tell you what, I can tell the young men who are working at home on their skills and have been running, there's a major difference, and you can really see it especially this early in the season. Some of the younger players have impressed me. They've all impressed me, but some of the younger players, their work ethic. I'll give you an example: is Hayden Gay. Mm-hmm. Hayden Gay is Jimmy's son, and this young man is run all summer long, and you can tell, and he's really into it.
So he came into the season in shape.
He came, and that's what you want. You know, if you're going to have a good program like Shazy has, these young men should come prepared.
Well, the days are gone, Joe. Let's face it. And there is almost an opportunity there for the gray, and just goes wide left. So an opportunity gone by here for the gray. But we'll get back to what Joe and I were talking about here. now when we played soccer, we went into preseason to get in shape, and the game has changed over the years that these kids should be coming in shape.
Oh,
nice save!
Beautiful.
So a couple of great opportunities here for the Gray. I mean, they come out on fire here, and the goalie for the Gray, that would be Pat Lynch, has come up big twice for them.
Red goalie.
It's a red goalie, so that would be Kellen Mack. 50-50, had it one or the other. So these kids have to come in shape, and especially at the success that the Shazy has had in recent years, well, for many years, the starting positions, you have to really earn those spots. There's no given.
That is a fact. These kids at this young age, the junior varsity, they might not realize it, but every time they go out, they step out on the field, they are playing for position. And that's a fact. And some kids, they might come in and they might think they have a position locked up. Well, that's not necessarily going to happen. There's a lot of factors that go into it. And like I said, I have a lot to learn as well at this level. There's a lot more things I have to deal with. And this was, what is today? Today's Thursday. It was a week ago today that this was sprung upon me by a telephone call. I was going to try to be a good fan and drink cool drinks and watch the kids play, and I'm not going to have that opportunity, but Coach McCullough had called me up and asked me if I would be interested, and I thought about it for about 2.2 seconds, and I said sure.
Well, Joe, when I heard that, Galen told me that they had asked you to be the JV coach, and I just thought that was wonderful because you've had these kids at the town level. You moved up, your sons play with them, at this level, and so I thought you were the obvious choice, and you have a lot of experience, and I think you do a good job.
There's other people out there that I'll tell you what, Lisa Brothers is a big help to me. Mm-hmm. She has been phenomenal. She knew she was going to get the call as soon as she knew I got the job, because I called her up about a day after, and I asked her, and she immediately, oh yeah, she goes, I've been waiting for this call. So, and Lisa Brothers, we see the same game, and that's what's nice about Lisa. I've known Lisa, for several decades now.
So now how is she helping you?
Oh, she's the same thing I'm doing. It's the kids, just getting them focused, getting them trained, getting them adjusted to the junior varsity level. Because
is she on the sidelines with you during the game?
She's going to be right there with me. And luckily, I'll tell you what, she's a registered nurse too. That's a big plus, because kids are going to get injured. And Lisa's been a valuable asset to these young men. For the amount of time they've been playing, it's been great. Like you mentioned, it's not just town ball, and I've coached a lot of these kids. I've done it through the club level for a few years with Tom Brandel. Tom Brandel taught me a ton also. He was a former junior varsity coach here at Shazy before he went to Northeastern. Now he's a principal down there. Yeah. He's just a great teacher. He really is. We taught these young men all the rudimentaries, the Corver skills. And
there he goes again, rudimentaries. We got to bring the dictionary back up this year. But go ahead, keep going.
But it's just the way it is, and the cohesiveness is what Coach McCullough was looking for, I think, when he called me. A lot of that, and the discipline factor with some of these young men. They're like wild horses that really have a lot of speed and talent. You can tell they have the raw material. They just need to harness it in the correct direction.
Right.
And that's another thing. I have to be a little stricter than I am normally.
Well, it's a different level.
It's a different level, and we are playing to win at the junior varsity level. I'm going to try to get every kid in the game. In every game, I have approximately 20 kids right now, 20 young men signed up. And to get every kid in every game is, let's face it, it's not going to happen. But for the most part, they're going to get some time in every game. I hope to. I'm going to see how it works out. But like you mentioned earlier, I am, Lisa Brothers and myself, it's not just me, believe me. And it's the parents also. The parents are on board with this. Well, and the parents are a big part of any team, and it's just the way it is.
But like anything in life, if you want a position, you got to work at it.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids that work at it and do the extras will be the ones that will be rewarded.
And that's the way it should be. Not every kid's going to get a big hug and a trophy at the end of the day.
Right.
You're starting to get into real life situations here, and these young men will understand that. And I know when they go over to the water cooler for breaks, I'm probably more than likely I'm called some names that we can't mention.
Coach.
But you know that's their time to do that, and I understand that. When they come back, they're focused and they're ready to play.
Well, I want to shift gears a little bit. We're kind of unique in Shazy because there's so many kids play soccer that we're like the only school in the MVAC that has a JV team. So because of that, you're playing CVAC teams, which have cuts.
Yeah.
So you're playing kids from bigger school, probably man for man, more talent than what we have.
We're playing C schools, B schools. Like school like Northern Adirondack doesn't have a football program to siphon good athletes off. Northeastern doesn't have a football program to siphon good athletes off. So these kids, I've warned my boys. I said, these kids, these men you're playing, they're bigger, faster, stronger.
And they made the team.
Yeah, but I told them also that I have a young junior varsity team. Lisa and I, we have a young team. As far as age, we have a ton of freshmen. I have one 8th grader that I mentioned earlier, but we have a ton of freshmen. I believe I have 3 sophomores. Only 3 sophomores on this junior varsity team with junior varsity experience. But these freshmen, I'm expecting big things out of them. I'm hopeful for the season, but it's going to be a learning curve for a few of them, especially at the beginning of the season. Like we mentioned, there's some things that we have to iron out, and they'll get it. There's some excellent talent. I'm telling you what, I'm looking at the future of Shazy soccer, and I'm seeing some extremely positive things.
Well, Coach McAuliffe said to me, end of last year, he goes, at the varsity level, if any team has, and he meant this in a good way, that if any team has a chance this year to take Shazy out, this would be probably the year. No guarantees, but this would probably be the year. And after this, he sees it's going to be a good 10-year run where other teams really have to have their A game working because he's got so much talent coming up.
There's starting a ton of underclassmen this year at the varsity level. A lot of these young men, they have great save right there. Good clear, smart clear right there. He didn't play around with the ball in the defense.
This is college.
Yeah, he's smart clear. But Coach McAuliffe, these kids, these young men that are on this varsity team, a lot of them underclassmen, they have Final Four experience. Yeah, that's a big thing. And they've played competitively. There's 8th graders on the team last year, freshmen, sophomores. They're all moving up. They're gonna do well. They're gonna do
well. Last year,
well.
nobody expected them to go to the Final Four.
Well, but Shazy, if they're like Peru football, if Peru loses 1 or 2 games during the season, it's terrible. What's going on? What happened? It's just the bar is raised.
Well, for the boys and girls last year, to their standards, they thought were bad seasons. The girls losing the semis, the boys losing the finals.
Yeah, well,
they were disappointed.
We're going to talk about. I'm going to have to give that
state champion.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I still haven't come up with a proper name of that 3-0.
You be nice now.
I still haven't come up with a proper name for that game because it still bugs me that you lose a 3-0 game with 18 minutes left. But it's
things happen.
That was youth. A lot of things came into play there, and
right.
I put it this way: you always learn more from a loss than you do from a win.
Sure.
And these young men they want another taste.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a different look this year with them, and we have Jason Baker playing for Plattsburgh State this year. Stetson Fields graduated.
Yep.
I mean, that was a very potent 1-2 punch.
They were basically the tent poles of the circus.
Well, and don't forget Ben Baker, who played a great job at the sweeper position.
Fabulous job. But Jason and Stetson were state. They were on the state team.
Right, exactly.
And rightfully so. Baker did an extremely good job of moving from the halfback, the midfield position, going to play the stopper position last year. Did a great job. But Jason Baker and Fields were the 2 most talented players by far in the MVAC.
No doubt.
By far. And Shazy is going to miss that, especially the explosiveness of Fields being able to score goals.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know what? This year, the scoring, I'm looking at Lauren coming back. I see Caleb Snide stepping up. Snide is going to be interesting to see what position Coach McAuliffe puts him in. He started taking some shots on goal towards the last part of the season last year. Started getting more comfortable. He was young. He was only a sophomore. And he was maybe tentative. This year,
will he be in the sweeper position?
Who knows what Coach McAuliffe is going to come up with.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. But they, like I said, a lot of these young men on Shazy varsity team, they have state experience. Mm-hmm. And You never know. You know what? You never know what the caliber of play. You may have, quote unquote, a team that is not so good, but what does everybody else have?
Right.
Now, if you have everybody else with the same issues, we could be right back there.
Well, it's still D level.
It would be surprising, but these things happen. These things do happen every year because most teams, when they are going to those Final Fours, they're senior teams.
Right.
They are normally senior teams. You might have an example when you had Ryan and the Spiegel boys, you had Casey. They were sophomores.
Right.
That is extremely rare.
Right.
It just normally doesn't happen. Most of these teams, when they're down there, even the regional teams, they're senior teams. You have a ton of seniors. I have a question, Calvin. Any forecast this year for Northeastern? They lost a ton of players too.
Well, they always have a strong team. They had a good JV squad last year. They'll be back.
Yeah, they usually are. I'll tell you, Calvin and I last year, we called the sectional game against Plattsburgh High. It was right here on this field, and it was a nasty, terrible, rainy night. That was the most exciting game I have seen for high school soccer in a long time.
And then
what a game. Phenomenal game. And I was pulling for Northeastern. I'm from up in the this neck of the woods. But just to watch those young men play last year was back and forth. And it was phenomenal.
Is that 1-0 PHS?
It was 3-2, ended up PHS.
3-2.
And I'll tell you what, young Nate Lamberton, he could have put that game away approximately 7 or 8 seconds into that overtime. And I'm like, oh my, but what a fabulous game to be to watch and to call. It was just back and forth. It was the most exciting game that I witnessed last year, actually in several years.
Well, I talked to Calvin before the game, but I want the listening folks to hear from the coach himself, Coach Joe Poisson of the JV boys soccer team. If you're just joining us, we are privileged to have him in the booth with us as a coach. I mean, he's been here as an announcer, but as a coach, it's a real privilege to stand next to this man right now. But the big question was, and we want to hear it from you, Joe, was if it's not presidential year this year, we're keep politics down to the minimum. Alan Combs. So the question is, will you be in the booth with us calling games this year?
Oh, I'm going to be up here as often as possible, but what happens is my our junior varsity team, I'm going to have to get out of that habit because it is not my team by any shape or manner. This is our team.
Yeah.
And that's the way I got to look at it. Like I said, I got to make some adjustments. But I am going to try to be up here as often as possible because I do enjoy this. I enjoy this immensely.
And then the other question I asked Calvin, and he knew the answer, but I guess you told him, but we want our listening folks hear it from you yourself. It is the Final Four. We're down, probably calling the game for Wiry. And are you on the sideline? Oh, what an opportunity. Calling the game with me up for Wiry, you're going to be walking the sidelines with Coach McAuliffe.
That is a choice. It depends on the pay raise from Wiry. That is the question we have to ask.
Well, we know where that's going to be. So
I'll put it this way: I am probably going to learn more by keeping my mouth shut. That's the way it is.
So that is very political. So is that a yes or no?
I have to, like I said, I would more than likely learn more by keeping my mouth shut.
What does that mean?
I'm going to learn more from the big guy.
So you're going to walk the sideline. So you're changing your story now.
I don't think. It's hard to tell. I don't know.
Is that a true?
It's hard to tell.
Alan Combs.
Listen.
The guy who wants to keep his job.
Just because Rob can hear us down below, it doesn't matter.
Like I said, I'm going to learn more by keeping my mouth shut. It took me a long time to learn that, but.
As you know, folks, we're just having fun up here in the booth because we aren't calling names because we really don't know who's out there.
How about reading off that roster one more time?
Want to read off the roster? You want me to hear me butcher the names again?
Butcher the names.
All right, we'll try this again here. We'll start with the red. We have number 20, Connor Blaine. Number 16, Dan Burns. 17, Nick Cholua. Number 1, Bo Chris Dukakis. Number 24, James Gaffney. Number 33, Joe Griffin. Number 5, local boy Matt Hamilton. Number 26, David Hickman. Number 22, Brandon Levine. Number 36, John Lagarato. Number 21, Michael Mergatio. Number 30, Michael Payne. Number 3, Mike Pinamonti. Number 9, another local boy, Pat Shaughnessy. Number 14, Kyle Stimpf. Number 35, TJ Winters. And number 27, Steven Zaharaka. Now, that wasn't too bad. I think I butchered that last name. Now, on the gray, we have Joe Hakat, number 18. Number 8, Matt Nobaka. I should let Joe do this for the first time. Number 28, Coach, Anis McCarron. Number 6, Greg Wiley. Number 7, Mark Mishiak. Number 2, Bart Mishiak. Number 13, John Martin. Number 25, Matt Martin. And I've been told none of these are relatives at all. Number 23, Chris Taylor. Number 37, Eric Hakim. Number 12, local boy Jacob Spiegel. Number 11, Gortez Delon. Number 17, Joe Bogart. Number 29, Joe Jones. Number 10, local boy Jason Baker. Number 34, Harvindez Adazra. And the goalkeepers are Andrew Hyington, Pat Lynch, Daniel Romer. And for the red, Mike Lynn, Kellen Mack, and Zach Kurzenga. So Calvin, how did I do the second time through?
I didn't notice one mistake in there, Joe.
Till their mom and dads listen to this.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Calvin, I'd just like to mention in Speak Out, probably about 2 weeks ago, there was a rather derogatory statement, unsigned, of course, which Speak Out does. And Calvin, I really want you to video. I really do want you to video. I do have to make my donation. So please video, Calvin. You're doing a great job. You do this North Country a nice service.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, okay, yeah, I did. Actually, I did see that, where somebody was a shot toward, I assume it was Hometown Cable.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
It was Hometown, but of course, it's the people were afraid to sign their names, which I kind of laugh at Speak Out. People hide behind that, but it's entertainment, I guess.
There's a letter waiting to be printed that...
You responded.
Yes, and the way I responded is I woke up and I'm no longer going to have a daily show in Plattsburgh and in Malone. I'm just going to do the weekend show because I spend a better part of a day every week preparing those DVDs to be shown.
And nobody supports.
I got maybe 10 people in the Plattsburgh system, and right now probably 0 in the Malone system who support Hometown Cable. So it's just, I haven't made enough to pay for the gas to drive the tapes to Plattsburgh, let alone the time I spend. So.
Well, but people don't understand. I don't think they realize that it costs money to do this. And
that's how I make my living.
And that's the other thing. And it's okay.
I don't know how many times I can say it.
It's okay but it's okay if you make a profit. I mean, people who give value make a profit, and you're giving extreme value. I mean, people will buy if they see the benefits. Well, when Joe and I do this, we try to get the benefit across. These are hometown memories. I mean, we talked about in the first half. You did the 400th but the founding of Lake Champlain by Samuel D. Champlain, and that's going to go in the history archives, for the 500th birthday, which we won't be around to see, but somebody else will appreciate that. And these soccer games, when Joe's an old man, he'll see himself on the sideline, as a coach with these teams,
I saw Joe playing softball this summer there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
From 20 years ago.
People at work were commenting. They said I was pretty back then.
Well, he had black hair, He was
40 pounds less.
Well, we could both say that.
Yeah, those are interesting to watch because Tony Musso.
The Musso.
We laugh, and I'm like.
Well, Steve Patno, last board meeting, he goes, guys, in September, we need to do updated photos for the yearbook. He goes, I've used the same photos for 3 years. So I said, Steve, if you take the photo, I say, can you Photoshop some bangs? I said, it's been a long time since I've had some bangs. I said, could you do that for me? So we'll see what I look like in the yearbook.
Well, I'm sure it still won't be pretty, but we'll look anyway.
But to go back to what you said, in the paper they talked about
nice pass.
Calvin's begging for money. No, he's not. he's saying support this. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, he's no different than PBS, who has fundraisers every 2 weeks on the air.
They don't get any federal money.
Yeah, he doesn't get any federal money. But public television I think is awesome, and there is a need for it. So and there's a need for hometown cable. People will spend how much for cable? Now, granted, they can get all these channels, but you'll support that. But yeah, when it comes to something local, but they'll be the first ones to want to see their kid out there on camera.
This is the way it's going to happen here.
Right.
I mean, right now Calvin's the only one in the area doing it.
Right.
So it's a valuable commodity. I mean, for the coaches, for the coaches to
on
do
that
it.
end, yeah.
They can actually use it as a learning tool, a coaching tool, and it's another tool in their arsenal that they can use to break it down if they have a really crappy day. Instead of going outside and slopping around the mud, hey, listen, we're going to put this on and I'm going to break some things down. It's something else they can use if they want
My
to.
kids saw me before they were ever born. They watch it. Go, is that you, Dad? And it's like, look at you.
There are some families that have shown 4 generations of that family at one point or another on tape.
4 generations.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
Wow. You are an old boy, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so that's our plug for Hometown Cable on this version.
You haven't given the address to send anything.
Well, it's 1277?
1466.
1460. Where does 1277 come from?
It's 1477.
1477.
It's 1470.
That was one number.
Well, again, we are too in preseason here. Joe and I were in preseason, and we're warming up too. So it's 1477 Ridge Road, Champlain, New York.
What's the zip?
12919. Now that I should know, since I grew up in the suburbs of Champlain.
Yeah. What are the suburbs of Champlain?
Perry's Mills.
Ooh.
Oh, you got that right. We have a bridge there. And I say we because it's
there's a pole, yeah.
still home.
Gotta call that.
Still home. That's where I grew up.
These two teams have been going at it pretty good. These guys,
Yeah, it's a lot of talent here.
we talked to Coach Waterbury just for a second at the halftime. He keeps approximately 20 to 25 players. He keeps up to 33 sometimes, but most of them, it's those extra players
don't
past
travel.
like the 22 level won't be on the traveling team.
Right.
And so it's a lot of competition out here for
Sure.
some spots. There's only so many spots. The coach has to take into account, some guys might not make it through school scholastically. There's always injuries. Mm-hmm. So, you have to weigh those things when you're the head coach. Because, speaking of doing it for a living, I do coaching basically for fun, and Coach Waterbury, he does it for a living.
Yeah, well.
So
we look at this game, it's a red and white game. Okay, yeah, it's red. But for these kids, they're playing for spots.
These young men are, that's it.
I keep calling them kids. Calvin corrects me, it's men.
Yes.
Young men, young men.
I know I have to do that too, Joe.
But for us, they are kids.
Well, I guess, but they
are young men, I understand that.
If they can vote and stuff now, they're young men at least, so gotta give them
Yeah,
that.
but it feels good to say kids.
Yeah, but they're very strong young men too. I noticed they're in shape, these guys.
I'm not saying I could keep up with them.
No doubt, but these guys, you can tell these guys are the ones that are serious. They come into Plattsburgh State. They don't come here to practice to get
No,
in
it's
shape.
a good program.
They're in shape. This is one of the top 3 or top Division 3 programs in the country. So
Yeah, exactly.
They've had a lot of success over the years. Waterbury has.
Well, it's 19 minutes here left in the second half. There's still no score. There were definitely much more opportunities early on here than we saw in the whole first half. But it's 7 shots favor the white team, or gray. 7 shots to 3. So I guess if you go on shots alone, gray is the dominant team today.
Yeah, we're good, no, we're good. If he goes
Sounds good.
Yeah, this is definitely the preseason for us.
Oh yeah. It's pretty. Well, what's difficult, you don't know the players.
No.
I mean, we know that when we even call it for wiry. If we do 2 teams, we don't know. A lot more difficult when you know one team. It makes it easier to call.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't know if we missed and oh, what a shot! What a beautiful shot.
We drilled that one. That was a good shot.
Upper right, man.
Yeah. Nice set play.
I just want to see the number. I want to see the number.
That's why
26.
Set plays are so.
That was David Hickman on a direct kick, upper right-hand corner. And here I'm giving all the kudos to White, and red comes down and bang.
Yeah.
So.
But I'll tell you what, that's why set plays are so imperative to prepare for. to prepare on the offensive side and on the defensive side. A ton of goals are scored on set plays,
Sure.
corner kicks, especially out in front of the keeper like that. Yeah, that's it. Restart. Just they're dangerous plays if you're on the offense and defense. You got to be ready.
And if that was the gray goalie, so you have Daniel Romer gets in and 3 goalies, and he is a recipient of.
But that was
that goal. But
tell you
any
what,
other goalie would have given that
that was
goal
a
up.
great shot. Yeah, it's
That was
phenomenal shot.
I'd call that like a World Cup shot, right hand corner going this way, but he had no chance.
No, that was a great shot. You're going to see here we have 17 minutes and 45 seconds
Left to go.
So let's see if the intensity of this game picks up. For sometimes they get a little scrappy, because it's just the way it is. I mean, you're
coaches
fighting
like
for
to see
position.
that.
Oh, you do to some extent.
At least in football they do.
Yeah, well, you do to some extent. You want to see that, but you try to prevent injuries.
Controlled aggression.
But you want to see them go at it. Who wants the ball? That's what you want to see. Who wants the ball?
Right now, number 19 for Red does, Nick Chalua. I should give you this roster and let you announce some of these names here.
That's fine.
You're
doing just fine.
Okay, Coach.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you, there's only 2 coaches in Shazy. One of them is the field at this.
Okay,
listen,
here we go.
and the other one is down below here. That's McCall. There's only 2 coaches in
Actually,
Shazy.
when Joe got the job, this is a true story. I called him on his cell and I left him a message. I said, it sounds like a law firm. We have Brendler, Tregan, McAuliffe, and Poisson.
Imagine that.
So he has a few choice words for me on the message back to me. And happy birthday wasn't one of them. He says, you're funny, Joe.
Yes.
He shouldn't talk like that on an answering machine, though.
Oh, no, he was clean.
Okay.
It was clean.
Always.
Well, yeah, you're a coach now. And, no, it was clean. It was clean fun. But it was, I was busting on him. He was laughing. Well, as long as I didn't lose my Ted Baxter to, total coaching. So
You're the only Ted Baxter, too.
I mean, I thought we have to get the supervisor back up here. I mean, get Staub out of
Like
retirement.
I said, there's only 2 coaches in Shazy that I know of.
No, that's true.
That's it.
That's true. Brendler and McAuliffe.
Yeah. I still call, Coach Brendler Coach.
Yeah.
You see him out. It's just the way it is. You see him. It's
Well,
just
it's respect.
It is. And
it goes back 30 years.
And I'll tell you what, Coach and I have done some games, for Shazy, and he and I, and you still, you call him Coach.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. I remember Mrs. Brendler running to Mrs. Brendler in the store, and I looked at her, and I couldn't remember what their last name was. She goes, just call me Mrs. Coach, Joe. And it was funny. And I okay, that's just the way how it is.
Yeah. Well, that's why in every game I always talk about the George Brendler Field, because you got to keep mentioning that. I mean, it's just
Well,
we know it here, but
It's true. I was reading an article in the paper today. There's people that don't remember who Jesse Owens is. They forget.
huh?
Yeah, I know. It's just the way it is, how it goes. Who's Jesse Owens?
Not that they don't remember. They never knew.
Yeah, there you go, Calvin. Yeah.
These are the same.
Mosquitoes biting me, not you guys.
It's your perfume, Calvin. These are the same kids that don't know what an 8-track is.
Well, I can't blame them.
Or 45s.
I wish I never knew what an
or
8-track was.
45s. Oh, you got any 45s? What are you talking about?
8mm video.
8mm, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We ran into some of those down at my wife's camp this year. Some old 8mm videos of her family.
Well, you ever remember the bag phone for the car? Bag phone? What are you talking about? Bag phone? Yeah, it's a car phone.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember the bag phone? You plugged it into your cigarette lighter, and it sat in a bag. It was just a big honking phone. That was your car phone.
I wasn't that fortunate. No.
Oh my! Wow, wow.
I just got a cell phone last year. What are you talking about? I just learned how to answer it.
Do you know they use computers nowadays, Joe?
I try not to.
Are you familiar with?
Follow Joey's Twitter.
Hey, Joe, are you familiar with email? I mean, are you familiar with that?
I have had experience with it. Not much, limited.
I mean, I've seen you on Facebook.
Yeah. I did make a copy the other day at home.
That's good.
I was proud, too.
How do you turn this on?
Yeah. You laugh, and that's a true story.
Our local boy, Jason Baker. Well, this has got to be a treat for Jason. You know, I mean, just months ago he was a high school player.
Yeah.
And now he's on this field. And, of course, Jacobs, he's a junior this year, so he's got 3 years under his belt.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a rush for and Matt Hamilton, too, number 5.
Speaking of
on the
coaches, Jake Spiegel did the Shazy Soccer Club. He did the U14 boys. Mm-hmm. And did an extremely good job. They were successful in several tournaments. And Jake has a future in coaching. I can see that Jake Spiegel has a future in coaching, and we have talked. He and I have spoken, and I hope he makes this team. I really do, and we talked about that. And if he for some reason does not, Jake, he's already said he's on board to help me. You know, and I said, believe me, I need all the help I can get. So it would be. Fortunate for me, but unfortunate for him in that aspect, because I'd like to see him play a couple more years.
Absolutely.
He's a kid still, we young men, whatever. But you know what? He's going to remember this. You still want to play. He has that drive.
Of course he does.
He has the physical attributes to do it still.
You know, he was my captain on Kavanaugh Realty summer team this year, you know.
Oh, yeah. You guys were runners-up against the perennial champion Giroux.
Yes, it was a great game. Actually, I had to get my free advertising there and mention Kavanaugh Realty, you know, because...
Calvin will charge you for that.
Oh, yeah. I'll be getting a bill. I know that. But, you know.
As you should.
That's the price you pay when you throw in those subliminal messages.
Actually, those two teams played 3...
It was great. That was a great final game.
3 great games this season.
Yeah, they were.
They're all one-goal games, so you can tell how evenly they were matched.
And that final game was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I heard that. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it on hometown cable yet.
Okay, now, this is where
Coming
we go.
soon.
Joe, go chase. Joe, okay, now let's keep it there. Kyle, get across. Keep it here, keep it here, keep it here.
Ooh. Nice move.
That was a nice move.
Real nice move. Breaks it out. Which number is Shaughnessy, did you say?
Number 9 for Red.
Number 9 for Red, okay. He scored a ton of goals last year.
Yes, he did.
I think he scored 12 goals.
A lot of them off his head.
A freshman, But he's a great athlete.
Well, we have 10:53 to go here in the second half. Red is up by 1, and it was a goal by number 26, David Hickman.
He played with him last year. I recall that name for some reason.
Yeah.
He was with him he's been with him for a year or two at least.
I haven't seen the Plattsburgh schedule yet. I got to get that.
Should be online.
Oh, is that online? On the Plattsburgh site?
I would imagine it should be online. Actually, the Shazy schedules, I was told,
I have those.
are online. So,
I've heard they only have 2 games in September at home, though.
that's possible.
Yeah,
That's
it must be a heavy load. In October they might be home, but
Yeah.
September's only a couple games.
But hopefully we're going to catch a nice fall, because boy, what a crappy summer we had this year.
Well, it was late
2009.
coming.
Oh gee. And hopefully we'll have some beautiful nights here. Last couple of seasons we've been extremely fortunate. We've had a few nasty ones, but we've had some beautiful soccer weather here the last few seasons.
That's what Calvin said. The last 2 seasons we really had some nice fall.
But I'll tell you
fall
what,
weather.
Last year at the sectional games, there was 2 games here that evening.
I had to miss that night. Something was going on.
Crew and Ausable for the first one, in Northeastern and Plattsburgh, that great game we spoke about earlier.
Well, I think I was following the girls' game that night.
Nasty, terrible, rainy night. And Calvin felt so bad he even bought me Mickey fries and hamburgers.
No kidding.
Yes, he did.
No kidding.
Yes, he did.
Wow. He's never bought me Mickey fries or hamburgers.
It was such a nasty night. We felt bad.
I didn't tell him that they didn't charge at the booth.
And all this time he thought you did it. Well, when he gives me $5 to go bring him some over, they never charge me either. Just kidding. Calvin says, no, you aren't. I haven't seen my money.
I wonder if they're going to be bringing back the famous Mickey fries. We did a nice interview with Mickey Kahn last year, too. A nice little
We brought the
spontaneous.
cameras right down there.
Did like a sneak attack interview.
You should know, Joe.
Handle it well. I haven't heard yet. I've been rather indisposed. This week has been a whirlwind week for me.
Well, you know, coach, you know, I mean, you know, it's just, next thing you know, there'll be a plaque here with your name on it.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of time.
Imagine that.
So what's your schedule look like for games? Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, we're playing 13 games, I believe, with the boys, with the junior varsity boys. I think I have 13 games scheduled.
When's the first one due?
Oh, gee, it is in the second week of September.
Second
I think
week?
Maybe
Wow.
the third.
No games up to that point?
Following the school around?
What's that, Calvin?
Are you following the school around? I know some years they followed off Sable Valley.
That's what they're doing. Yes, they are. We're following the CVAC schedule
Oh, I see.
because we're playing the CVAC teams.
But those are the only games, that's like your first games?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I believe so. It's going to be an old arch nemesis of mine, Northern Adirondack, first game.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Where?
Going to be right here in Shazy. It's going to be the first game, Northern Adirondack. We
Is
used to
that
have some.
under the lights?
No. We play
The other field over
there's,
there?
Yeah, there's a couple of fields here. Coach McCullough has us playing here a couple of games. I don't know under the lights. I'm really not. I don't think they're under the lights. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm still new to this whole.
Right.
This has been a kind of a whirlwind week for me.
Well,
so
you got to get
it's-
me a copy of your schedule.
Yeah,
So if
I will.
Try to catch a
I
couple
think
games.
I think they're online. We've taken Seton Catholic's junior varsity spot. They don't have a junior varsity team,
Oh, okay.
so they allow us to play in their division. We take their spot in the schedule, which is great, really, for these young men because they're going to be playing some good competition.
Yeah, that's great. But it'll make them that much
But
better.
I'll tell you what, this team that's playing a lot of they played the MVAC junior varsity teams when they were modified.
Yeah.
They went undefeated.
So on the Seton has a home game. You'll be here at Shazy.
That is correct. We'll be here in Shazy. We'll be on one of the two other fields across that you can't.
So are you saying the modified boys last year were undefeated in the
They were
MVAC?
undefeated in the MV playing against
Their
junior varsity
yeah,
teams.
Right.
And so they like I said, they have a ton of talent, but they're like a wild stallion, and they got to focus more. They're going to be an outstanding team. I see nothing but great things for this team, but they have to learn a little bit of some discipline, and some other things, and then they're going to be. I hope to. What I'd like to do is hand Coach McCullough an extremely well-disciplined varsity team. Mm-hmm. You know, coming right up through, so he can take them another level. You know, that's what I hope to do. But like I said, I have a whole million things to learn. Coach McCullough has given me a couple of books to read, coaching philosophy.
Oh, nice finish.
Beautiful move right there.
Beautiful
Right there,
finish.
boy.
I mean,
He did like a drag move almost, just kind of like almost like a stutter step on the outside.
he just walked right through the defense.
Yeah, he did.
And he
didn't put a
finished
body on
off. And we'll see if we can get this name right here.
36.
Number 36. It is John Lagarato.
And that goes to true to form. They claim most goals are scored in the second half. You know,
Well,
I was reading
makes
that.
sense.
I was like,
I mean,
okay.
teams get tired.
Here we go. Yep. And teams also get more comfortable too. You know, you get in your rhythm if you're an offensive team.
Oh my God, we got a Kurt Gibson moment. Nolan Ryan coming off his crutches, coming onto the field.
Yeah.
A
Poor Nolan this
Kurt
year.
Gibson.
Have you spoken about Nolan this year?
Yep.
In his accident? Darn.
Yeah, we did. Oh, we talked about that earlier.
Terrible thing. But you know what? He has the fortitude to come back from that. He's got to let it heal, though.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. That injury right there has.
No one's right there. I don't know if Calvin can get him on camera, but he's right there on his crutches here at lower right.
Calls at the 18. Way too much.
Well, no, I just let you know when the time's right. I understand
Preseason,
that.
Calvin. We're
still warming up. There's
gonna have to
Nolan right
forgive
there.
each other.
He's on the crutches. He's got a walking cast on his left foot.
I think if he played 2 games with that broken toe for Kavanaugh Realty, I think Kavanaugh Realty might be on the line for some compensation.
Oh my God.
Well,
Yes.
at the time it was a bruise, so that's already been
That's when you need tort reform.
legality's already cleared that for us. It was a bruise. It was strictly a bruise at that time.
But that injury right there, I have learned has ended many people's
Yeah, he's got to take
playing
care of it.
careers. You know, if it doesn't heal right,
Yep.
it's wrong, and there's really no way to go back in and do it again. From what I understand, it's a one-shot deal. That's what I heard. Whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but that's what I was informed
It's
about.
like
And
it's like under the big toe or the ball
yeah,
of the foot.
right in the back of the big toe. It's like a ball. There's 2 bones allegedly, and one of them broke. And he did play 2 games after that on that broken foot.
Here comes
That must
Nolan
have
now
hurt.
asking coach to go into the game, but I think Waterbury's going to say no to this.
But you know, you watch this college game, and the speed of the game is just intense. You know, and this is a preseason game for these guys, these men here too. But the speed and the skill level is wonderful to watch.
they're all good.
You know, if you're a fan of soccer,
You appreciate this.
even though this is quote unquote a scrimmage game, whatever you want to say, this has good intensity, some excellent skills, and great speed.
Right, and it's well clean. It's a well clean
Oh, yeah,
game.
yeah.
These kids know each other. They're teammates. You know, they know each other.
Yeah, you know, and that's, you know, that I'm sure that keeps some of the emotions in check. You know, but it's been very well played game.
It's a nice shot.
Fun to watch.
Oh,
We're trying to get a goal. Great team has been threatening here.
no, they threatened early in the second half too. Nothing to show for it other than a shot on net.
2-0 in favor of the red team.
Yeah. And they've been outshot 8-7.
Speedy's been doing a good job in the middle. He hasn't been off the field a whole lot.
Oh, and Baker's been out there
Yeah.
quite a bit here the second half too.
Coach Waterbury is getting a good look at these young men. Calvin, are they using one of your DVDs for training purposes here tonight?
I have no idea. But I remember we talked about George Brendler earlier. When George retired and had a little function for him, Chris Waterbury attended, and he said when he first came to the area, where are the men's teams, and there's 3 or 4 Shazy men's teams up here. And of course he's there in Plattsburgh. He said that must be a pretty good sized city, you know. Then he came up here and saw what Shazy was all about, and he couldn't believe it.
I had there was a wasted opportunity. The who was I just talking? I was talking to actually. We had the Board of Realtors golf tournament yesterday, and I was talking to Tom Cronin, and he's brother Dick owned Cronin Realty, and I worked with Tom, and it was just neat to see him. We just haven't missed a beat. We haven't seen each other in years, haven't missed a beat, and he goes, "How does Shazy do that?" I said, well, I think every kid plays soccer, but I go, I think it's really a mindset. I know we've talked about this before. They've won it, and they know that it can be done, and their mindset is it can be done. I think other teams have to get through that yet.
Yeah, that's psychological. It's like, you know, I was telling my young men tonight, you know, the 4 pillars of soccer, you know, you have to have the technical ability. You have to have the skills, the trapping, passing, shooting. Those are the technical things. You have to have the tactical. You know, you have to learn your positioning. You have to learn how to set up a wall. That's all. You know, what are your defense? What kind of defense do you use? Do you play a possession game? Those tactical things. You have to have the physical attributes. You have to be in shape. You have to be able to run. You have to be able to have a lot of strength to play 90 minutes. And you have to have the psychological, which is probably the most important of all.
Right.
You have to have that mindset. You just said
you can do it.
It's the psychological, and that's. I was explaining to my young men tonight.
And they score.
Oh, the Gray puts one on the board.
So the Gray gets on with only 34 seconds left, so it's now a 2-1 game. And it's this young man running back right now, but I'm trying to get his number.
But that is something I just learned from Coach McCullough too. You know, the 4 pillars. You know, like I said, I have a million things to learn before you can call me coach, Joe.
And that was Matt Naboka. No, I'm calling you coach, man. You are coach in my book. It's Matt Naboka just scored here for the Gray, so it's now 2-1. So I think, wow, here like for 28 seconds. So I think Coach Waterbury's probably kind of happy with some offensive output here in the second half.
2-1 game. It's been a well-played game. How about our ball boys this evening, too? Ball boys
Doing a great job. Our ball boys tonight doing a great job down there.
Gentlemen.
Future soccer players of America right there.
I'm sure.
We're in the final 10. So the Plattsburgh State University red and white game will come to a close here at the George Brendler Field on the 20th of August. A hot, humid night, but no complaints. Bugs have come out. They've eaten Calvin more than us, but he has a better brand of perfume than we have on here tonight. Our new coach, Joe Poisson, joining us here for the second half. He was doing CPR training there earlier in the first half, but he's on board. So, Calvin on the camera. I'm Joey Trombley calling the game.
I'll feel a lot safer this year knowing that if something happens to me, Joe will be performing CPR on me.
Do I get to eat my Mickey fries first?
It's going to make me take better care of myself.
Joe's already told me, he says, Joey, you go down, you're out of luck. Yeah, you're out of luck. So the red wins the game 2-1. It's, like I say, red and white game. It's just teammates against teammates, guys playing for spots. And as Calvin and Sam like to say, that's the way it was in beautiful downtown Chazy.